All right, so you should have defined your site in Dreamweaver so that you see your Alamo folder and all its files over here in your Files panel. If you have not, then you should pause the video and go do that first. If you don't remember how to do that, you'll need to refer back to the Dreamweaver Introduction Challenge, and just remember to go and check or change it to your Alamo folder. So if you bother to look at any of these pages, you'll see that you have some basic web pages that have information, not no layout, no formatting other than some bold, but just some general information. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create a Dreamweaver template that has the layout and the design in one place so that it's easier for us to update, and then we're going to apply it to all of those pages. So let's start off by creating a new HTML, and I'm going to go ahead and save this first by going to File and Save as Template. And this is going to be saved as Alamo Template, and click Save. And it should have created a templates folder for you that has that template in it. Okay. Now I'm going to leave my program in split view because we are going to have to go in and move some things around in the code. And that's why we learn the HTML first. Your insert panel should now be your insert bar up here so that you can follow along. Remember that all of your panels are here under the Windows menu if you lost one. We're going to start off here with the Layout tab, and this third icon is the Draw AP Div. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to just simply draw a rectangle and click on it to select it so that I can change the properties. The first property I want to change is the name, and I want to call this Container. And it is important that you spell it right, because if you don't, you're going to wind up having to misspell it the same way all the way through. Now, notice that I went ahead and hit return a few times so that the opening container is up here and the closing div tag is down here. That way it's easy for me to find where I want to position all the rest of my things. I will need my CSS Styles panel. I have it on all, and I click Container, and here are the properties that are here already. I can change things either by clicking on the div container and doing it here in my properties, or I can do it here in my CSS Styles panel. So I'm going to start by changing my height to 680 pixels. I am going to delete the property for left. I'm going to change the top to 0 pixels. I'm going to change the position to relative because I do want to make it centered in the middle. And then the width is going to be 920. Okay. I'm going to have to add margin left as auto and margin right also as auto. Whoops. And what you, oops, somehow I clicked something I shouldn't have. There we go. Now, if you don't see it centered, it could be because you don't have your page maximized like mine. So you might need to maximize it, double check it before you go on. Okay? The last thing I want to do is I want to give it a background color of black. Okay? Pretty simple. All right, so that's the container. I'm going to go ahead and click in my design area so that I can use my Draw AP Div again. I'm going to go ahead and draw another div. Whoops. And select it if I can find it. And that's why I usually choose not to, there we go, choose not to color my divs at the beginning because sometimes you can't find it with a black background. So here's my AP Div 1 that I need to change to header. I do want you guys to realize that the names that I give my divs are not some magical name that makes them do anything different. They're just names that make sense to me. Okay, you could name them other things if you wanted. Now, my div header, I moved it inside my container because my container is going to hold all the other divs I create. And I'm just going to hit enter once because inside my header is going to be where I put my banner, my image. Again, I can choose to set this up where I do it here in my CSS styles or down on my properties. That is up to you. I'm going to make my width 900 because that's the size of my banner. The height will be 150. Make sure that you keep the px there, otherwise it won't work. I'm going to make the left 10 pixels, and I'm going to make the top 10 pixels. And you should, after doing that, see the changes over here in the CSS styles. I also want to give it a background color. I'm going to use my hashtag and then 999933. That way it has the same background color as the image that's going in it. Now, I also want to make sure that the position of this becomes relative. And then I'm ready to insert my image. So I'm going to click here in my header div, and I'm going to go to my images folder, and I should be able to find Alamo banner. I'm simply going to drag it and drop it. I'm going to type the Alamo and online tour as the alternate text, and after clicking OK, you have your banner. If it's not in between your opening header and your closing tag, you can simply click on the image and drag your code to wherever it needs to go. Okay? All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to insert our navigation. And so I'm going to click here in my design view again, and I'm going to use my draw IP div, and I'm going to draw my nav. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to rename it nav. And I do always rename it. That way it makes sense on what it is, because this particular one we're going to wind up with 1, 2, 3, 4 different navs, and sometimes you may have more than that, and it becomes hard to figure out what is what. I'm going to go ahead and move my nav here after the closing header tag, or sorry, closing header div header, okay? And I'm going to hit enter a couple of times just so that it's obvious where I'm going to put my information. I am going to here down in my properties, I'm going to give it a left of 10 pixels because I want it to be 10 pixels from the left. And from the top, I'm going to type in 20 pixels. And now, the reason it's up here is because I have not changed the position. The position of this needs to be relative. And now you can see that the 20 pixels that I put in accounts for the 10 pixels at the top as well as this 10 pixels here. Okay? My height is going to be 500. Same height that I made my navigation. My width is going to be 200. Same width as my navigation. And this one is going to have the same background color as that of the banner. So it's # or hashtag 999933. Okay? And I believe I have all the properties I need for that. And so now I'm going to click in my nav, and I'm going to insert Fireworks HTML. So if you look at the Alamo nav, okay, this is what we created with it. Look at all of the code, all the JavaScript that it created in order to make rollover buttons. Okay, so instead of typing that in or anything else, I'm simply going to click inside the nav. I'm going to go to the Common tab of my insert bar, and see this here where it has images? If I click on the little arrow next to it, the fourth one down says Fireworks HTML. If I choose that, I can hit Browse, and it will allow me to navigate into my Alamo folder for that alamonav.htm. Don't be mistaken, we're not looking in the source folder for the PNG. We're actually looking for the web page that has all that code behind it. Click OK, and my navigation has been put inside that div. All of the images are being held together by a table. Okay, you remember all the table tags? So that is all the code for that entire thing right there. And it's showing up inside of my nav. Next, I'm going to create my content div. And this one is going to be a little different. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go back to the layout, draw my AP div. I'm going to select it so that I can rename it content. And the first thing I'm going to actually do is I'm going to give it a background color of white to make it easy for me to see. And I'm going to move this just inside the closing div tag, and that happens to be the closing div tag of the container. Okay? Now, I need to go ahead and select it so that I can put in some properties. Content right there. So the first one, the position on this one is actually going to be absolute. The height is going to be 480, and I'll explain that in a minute. The width is going to be 670. The left is going to be 220, and the reason of 220 is because we have 200 pixels for the nav, 10 pixels here, and we want 10 pixels here, so that's 220. Top is going to be 170, and again, it's 150 for the banner, and then 10 and 10, we got 170. We're going to add a property for padding, and it's going to be 10 pixels. And remember that 10 pixels of padding, it actually makes it look like it increases the size of your div. Okay? All right, so that is, oh, we have one more thing, and we can do that in two places. Notice that you have down here in properties, we have overflow. You can also use the add property. We're going to do auto. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep this div this size, and if it has too much text to fit in this area, it's going to put a scroll bar here on this particular div. All right, now that the layout is done, we only have two more things that we need to do, and that is to type in title and body content. The title is going to be an H1. And if I come over here in my code and I can select the H1, the title, I'm going to go to Insert, Template Objects, and insert an editable region. And I'm just going to go ahead and call it page, no, I'm going to call it title. And I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to select body content, and I'm going to use my code so I can select the paragraph tags around it. I'm going to do the same thing. Insert template objects, the editable region, and this is going to be called body content, and click OK. And remember that what that does is it puts these two areas as an editable region that when we apply them to the other pages, it is the only place that can be edited from those other pages. I'm going to go ahead and Command S to save. It's already been saved as a Dreamweaver template, and now you're ready to move on to the next one where you apply your template to the pages.